What's up, fella?
Hello, good shot.
Hello, fella. How art thou?
I am good. Enjoyed my first official day of vacay.
Nice. God.
It feels so good.
I bet it does. And it's like, you're like me. You're like me whenever I did put in vacation time. I always had 2 weeks, and it was always either right before the summer started, or I was that a-hole that waited right before the Christmas lockout time when they were like, no, you can't do it past this time.
No.
And I'm like, I'm going to do it the week before.
Well, no, see, this was like my birthday week.
Oh, your birthday, that's right.
Yeah, this Friday. It's
Bruh. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
And then, I planned this a month in advance, and then every once in a while, I'll hear people be like, "Oh, well, can I do this? Can I do that?" It's like, and the manager goes, "Well, I don't know. Like, it's gonna be tight at the end of the month with Merle gone." It's
of course.
Really now?
Yeah. So that sounds like a you problem.
And we're gonna be doing some scary movies on the Eternus side of things. So.
Oh, nice. Hope all is well on the Eternus side of things. Speaking of which, Madam Critical Sin is in the chat. Nice.
I do see that.
Yes,
don't worry,
indeed.
I'll be at the event. It's fine.
Yes, indeed.
We got this.
Yes, an Awkward Parakeet. Thank you for 17 months. Thank you. I swear, I keep telling Sin, I think I'm about ready to RP, and then I'm like, damn, shit.
I mean, with us, it doesn't really.
I know.
We have some people in the background, and they'll pop in every once in a while. So
I know. No, y'all. The few interactions I've had with y'all's group, they're good people. I've had nothing but good interactions.
Mm-hmm.
Good people, good guild, and it goes to show you right there. Don't always believe the stigma of Balmung. Everywhere outside of Ul'dah is just fine.
No, everywhere outside the quicksand is fine.
Yeah, everyone, just don't go in the quicksand. It's kind of like Moonguard on World of Warcraft. Just don't go in the inn. Everyone else is fine. Yeah, everyone else is fine.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So Colin's on vacation. That's a wonderful, positive thing. You can tell us in the chat what's a great thing that's happened to you this week, or maybe something coming this week. My positive thing was I finally don't have to use a controller on 14 on PS5 anymore. I actually got my hands. I got my hands on a Logitech G600. It was only like $20 on eBay, and I had to fiddle with it. But oh my god, I can use my MMO mouse again. And I'm like, oh thank God, God. That was having to not just adapt to a controller, but then go into Savage rating. I'm like, kill me.
Oh my god, I couldn't imagine.
Oh my god, bro. I tell you what. Plus, dude, I have been on like a mana trick lately. Like, I've gone back and I've been playing Seiken 1 Final Fantasy Adventure lately, and I'm just like, God, I always forget just how good this game is.
You're gonna give the Steam version of Secret of Mana a try again?
Yeah, I think I am, because last I heard, a lot of fixing has been done to it.
Oh, really?
So, yes, I think so. Yeah, a lot of fixing has been done to it. Plus, I also have it on PlayStation as well. So,
oh, nice.
Yes, and Khan can tell y'all himself. The Mana series is just wonderful. His in particular, you were very fond of Trials of Mana #3, Seiken 3.
Oh my god, if I had played it on the cart, I'm pretty sure I would have worn it out for the amount of times I played it.
Well, and that's what I love about the Mana collection that you can get on pretty much any platform. Is it is the SNES variation of Trials of Mana that we never got to see outside of Japan. So,
well, not only do I have that one, I also have the remake of Trials of Mana.
And you told me from your own mouth that the remake, while not perfect, was like very well done.
Like, voice acting is cheesy as all hell. I will give it that.
That's to be expected at this point.
Graphics, like, if I were to argue about it, probably PS3, like upper PS3 era type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's enjoyable. Like, the mechanics is still the same, the story's still the same.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's fine. They wanted to do some kind of pseudo 3D style that's saying they did with Secret of Mana. But I'll say this: if they ever want to touch especially Mana games ever again, I'm like, bro, Octopath the hell out of those graphics.
Oh,
Ooh, can you imagine Secret of Mana on the Octopath engine?
Now, see, I think, and this is just
Sure.
tinfoil hat conspiracy theory not going on here. I think they're doing remakes of Live a Live, and what's going to be like what Dragon Quest 4, I think.
Yeah, it's one of the earlier Dragon Quest games that's
Yeah.
getting the treatment.
I want to say, hope and pray they're doing it to Chrono Trigger.
I want to hope and pray they're doing it to Chrono Trigger. And, you know, the NVIDIA leak that happened a while back, everything on that list has been true thus far. And Tactics Remaster, what Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster was on that list. And I'm like, if they Octopath Tactics, especially after Triangle Strategy,
They might.
that might have been Triangle Strategy might have been the test. It might have been the test if they do that to Tactics. Ooh. But yeah, Secret of Mana, Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy Tactics, like give it all to like the Octopath engine. Like you really want to preserve your OG 16 bits, do that. Like do that. Like that's how you do it.
And it's so impressive just how much it looks better with it.
It really does. It really does. It's an homage to the old pixel art 16-bit style, but God, it looks so much better updated with the shading and everything they do, and just the way they implement those backgrounds and it not being so, in Tactics case especially, it's like, here's sprite work on polygons that after so many years, you look at it now and it's like, ooh, that hasn't aged well.
Oh my God, right?
Yes, unfortunately, as beloved as the PS1 era is, those polygons have not aged well. They have not. So, speaking of things that have not aged well, here's how I segue into our first topic of the evening. I'm getting good at these segues. I'm getting better at them.
You are.
All right, so our first segue of the night. Good news, everyone! There has been an update to the Bayonetta 3 Hellena Taylor, let's just call it what it is, Odyssey. It's an Odyssey at this point. And y'all, she changed her story again. And it's not looking good on her at all. And I'm just like, lady, are you serious? So what happened was, quick recap, yeah. Literally, yeah. So quick recap. She originally said she was gonna play Bayonetta 3 voice actor again, and she turned down an insulting offer and of like $4,000 and whatnot. And then she went on to say that the new voice actress Jennifer Hale had no business claiming the right to Bayonetta. She had no right to sign merchandise, and the Bayonetta franchise has made over $450 million, which that in itself is a debatable number, especially since Bayonetta 1 and 2 only crossed about $200 million in sales worldwide. So $450 million not counting merchandise, that in itself is a questionable number right there. I'm like, only $2 million, and you didn't even cross the $1 billion bullseye? I don't know about that. But who knows? It's hard to find concrete numbers about how much did it actually make. So she said all that, and then Platinum Games responded with, no, we offered her basically, after it was all said and done, between 15 to 20 grand. And then they said that she tried to come back and say she wanted six figures, which, look, there's only a few voice actors and actresses out there that might even pull close to that number. And given her experience, I would definitely say Jennifer Hale would definitely be worthy of that amount. Now, whether she actually makes that amount, I'm not sure. But she is a high roller voice actress because she's been doing this for so long. I hate to say it for Miss Taylor, but she hadn't been in this business nearly as long, because me and Khan actually discussed this the other night. Jennifer Hale is one of those voices that you've actually heard her your entire life. Like,
yeah, actually,
she's one of those. She's been around since the 80s, and everybody that's been around since especially the 90s, she's one of those voices you've heard her your entire life. So, today, she has what she decided to say was this. She stated in a series of tweets that the initial offer from Platinum Games, let's see, hold on, let me make sure I got my thing here. Yes, in a series of tweets, Taylor stated that the initial offer from Platinum Games, which she rejected, would have amounted to $10,000. And that following her correspondence with Hideki Kamiya, she was offered an additional $5,000. Taylor says she declined the $15,000 and 11 months later also turned down an offer of $4,000 to voice some lines as a flat fee. According to Taylor, there was no extensive talks and claims that she was offered $4,000 for 5 recording sessions are, in her own words, total fabrications. Furthermore, she denies that she negotiated for a 6-figure payment. So that's not what she said originally.
No, it is not.
That is not what she said originally, because she only ever mentioned $4,000. She never specified that anything about $15,000. So she either lied or she backpedaling hard here. She goes on to say that there were not extensive negotiations. I've also been informed of ridiculous fictions, such as I asked for $250,000. I am a team player. I was just asking for a fair living wage in line with the value that I bring to this game. She tweets, "It has come to my attention that some people are calling me a liar and a gold digger. I feel the need to defend myself and my reputation in the industry." The veteran voice actor also said that she was paid a shockingly low £3,000 sterling for the original Bayonetta game, and only a little more for Bayonetta 2. I want to see a receipt on that one, because
I do too.
I want to see some receipts on that one. Taylor ended the tweet thread by telling supporters that any money she took from fan signings was donated to charity. I want to see a receipt on that one too. So this is very much just in my personal opinion. This very much feels like she is walking back, and she is walking it back hard, because those details about the $15,000 never came out of her mouth. That came from Platinum Games. And I just don't understand. Like, one thing I think I'm trying to really understand with this is, like, Miss Taylor, what is the end game here? I'm just, I'm like, I don't get it. Like, what's the end game here?
Now,
what do you think? What do you think?
So before I ask my questions. Her end game almost sounds like well, if I can't get anything, neither can anyone else. Like, this is just coming from my perspective of it, because it definitely sounds like she saw her value. Her value was grossly underestimated. And she's like, well, then we're not doing the project. But now that the project's got ahead and it's on its way, she's not only doing scorched earth, but salting the earth and blowing it up with nukes.
Yeah.
And Wreck-It Ralph it too. Yeah.
Yeah. She about to Wreck-It Ralph it. Yeah. I'm gonna wreck it.
I don't know. Just her general demeanor in the entire thing comes more as a holier than thou versus a thank you for the opportunity.
Yes. Like, if you can't come to terms on pay, then it's just like, okay, then you can't come to terms on pay. So many people, when they can't come to terms on pay, a lot of people will say, well, if I see we're not going to agree, and then they part ways, and that's the end of it. They don't try to raise a stink very coincidentally a few weeks away from the game's release and try to drag their name through the mud and saying how deeply she was wronged, while also dragging the current voice actress, a legend in the industry, under the bus, while also calling for a boycott of the game.
and a voice actress, I just looked at with her IMDb, has been around since 1980.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, she hasn't been doing things since the 2000s, guys. Like,
Yeah.
she has had a storied career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Literally, Miss Taylor's last voice acted. You can see it on IMDb. The last bit of voice acting she ever did was Bayonetta 2. And that was like 8 some years ago.
Oh no! The last thing she should have done was supplementary material for Smash.
True. Yes, she would have done some supplementary for Smash Brothers. That is correct. Yes,
That would be it.
so that would be it, and that goes. And you know what? That's not even Smash Ultimate. That's Smash Wii U and 3DS, because
Yes.
all they did, those same lines that Bayonetta had in Smash Ultimate, were the same voice lines from Smash Wii U and 3DS.
That is correct.
So
yeah.
literally nothing new was recorded there. Literally, it was the same voice lines.
But
So,
now comes my questions here.
Mm-hmm.
First, how many news outlets were reporting on the amount of the six figures?
That one, I want to say there was at least three or four that were saying that, you know, she had asked for this. Now, I want to say when it comes into the line of the 6-figure thing, I think that one is coming down to a he said, she said. But the fact that this is now like the second time that she has omitted very big details here. Like, because originally she posted and told her story as if we were to believe that she was only paid $4,000. Like they were only offering her $4,000 and that's it. She didn't say anything about 10 grand and then $5,000 on top of that after she talked to Hideki Kamiya.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just like, well, wait a minute. Why didn't you say that at first? And I can tell you probably why she didn't say that. And she'll probably come back later and say, well, I misquoted. I'm guarantee you right now, at this rate, she said that to garner sympathy.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. I'm just like, you said it, you omitted it on purpose. You purposely waited to say all of this weeks before the game came out. If an NDA was even in effect, she flat said herself she doesn't care if she's under an NDA or not. So people could say, well, she was under an NDA, and I'm like, really? Well, she flat said at this point she didn't care if she's under one or not. So that's that's out the window.
Well, yeah, exactly. Then my second question is, what is her definition of a living wage?
Indeed, what is the definition of a living wage? Because I can tell you right now, so many people would kill for a week's worth of work and make 15 grand. Let me put this into perspective for you, ladies and gentlemen. 15 grand is about $5,000 less than the majority of yearly salaries in the state in Mississippi, the state that I live here in the United States. I live in the poorest state in the entire nation. 15 grand is about $5,000 short of a yearly salary. She would have made that in a week.
A week.
If I was in her shoes, I'd have been like, bro, let's go. I will do it.
And that's the thing. It wouldn't been a full-time salary person's full-time week. Reportedly, it was just going to be like 4 or 5 hours per day of that week.
Basically about $1,000 a session. About like $1,000 an hour, basically. She was going to make $1,000 an hour. And, they probably would have had to call her back and do extra lines and stuff like that. And she's talking about how she can't live off that. And I'm like, you can't? Not until you find another gig? Really?
It's like, what are you doing?
Like, what are you doing that you can't live off of making 15 grand in a week? Bro, like, let me tell you what 15 grand would do for me. That would probably cover my house payment for the rest of the year and then some.
Oh, yeah.
Like, holy shit. And here's the bad thing about all of this, especially. All this does is it casts a bad light on voice actors and voice actresses, and all this is going to do is make it even harder for a voice actor and voice actresses to be paid better wages, because they're already very underpaid. They're already underpaid. Like that's not a fiction, of any kind. That is real. All this is going to do is potentially make it even harder for them to have an argument for better wages, just because from what it's looking like here, she really did believe her own hype and decided to trash another voice actress, boycott a game, and choose this as her hill to die on. Because literally, and the sad thing for her is this: it's like, after all of this, like what video game dev team is going to want to work with her after this?
Mm-hmm. And going off with what Flying Goddess just said here, they offered her 4,000 like per session. From what I understand, that is actually like prime tier value for the union.
Yeah, like even above what they usually go with.
Yeah, so they were actually willing to pay her higher than union pays to get her to reprise the role for the third game.
So yeah, literally, some people have said this is a don't bite the hand that feeds thing. This is, in my opinion, this is not a don't bite the hands that feeds. This is why you shouldn't believe your own hype. And literally, her actions. This is going to be one of those things where her actions will have repercussions on the rest of the industry. Unfortunately,
it will. Yeah.
Yeah. So the story is still ongoing. I'm looking forward to some of those receipts if they do rear their head, and I would like to actually see more details from Platinum's side as well, because, and again, we said this last time, y'all. Like, boycotts, yeah, they're a slippery slope, but ultimately, especially in video games, boycotts don't work, y'all. Like, they just not in video games. Boycotts are very much a personal choice, but if you're trying to hurt the industry by calling for a boycott, unfortunately, people just need their fix, and they're going to buy the game. I mean, and if people think, if people want to argue, boycotts do work, really? How many people said they were going to boycott Overwatch 2? How many people said they were going to boycott World of Warcraft? I mean, look, I was one of them. I said I am not, when the Blitzchung thing went down, I said I am not playing World of Warcraft until this is resolved. And yeah, I waited till it was resolved, but then I played it after the fact. So, that's what I'm saying, especially when big dog YouTubers want to scream and cry about how, I'm boycotting this. It's just like, no, you're not. No, you're not. Yeah, or boycott Diablo, or boycott Bayonetta 3, or people that are like, I'm gonna boycott Amazon because Jeff Bezos wants to go to Saturn, and I'm like, yeah, you say that, but man, that Prime shipping though. Or people that are like, I'm gonna boycott Walmart. The hell you are.
It's like, congrats, you boycott Walmart. There's like 5 other stores in your city alone, and people are going to that one.
Yeah, there's 5 other stores, and those stores are probably going to have higher prices than Walmart. How long you going to hold out on that Walmart boycott?
Yeah.
Or the most recent example I gave, I'm boycotting Disney Plus. Yeah, you will, until your little 5-year-old Jimmy the dipshit doesn't shut the hell up. So, ongoing situation. Looking forward to seeing more, because at this point it's starting to turn into theater. It really is.
I honestly think it's done. Like,
it might be.
I cannot fathom her digging anything else other than maybe something to say, shut up trolls, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Other than that, in terms of her situation, she's done.
I honestly do. I agree. I honestly do think she's done. I mean, like we said, what dev team in their right mind would hire her after that? Mm-hmm. So, going into our next story here, and this one, Khan chose, and I personally am looking forward to hearing for this one. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you chess drama. Khan, take it away.
And like, who would suspect chess having drama at all, right?
Right.
So, this is coming from a tournament, actually about last month. Mm-hmm. There's two Grandmaster level players, one Hans Niemann, and this guy sounds like a boss name, Magnus Carlsen.
Okay. Magnus.
Magnus.
Intimidating.
So, how the story went down, the two played their match, to which the 19-year-old Niemann beat the older Grandmaster.
Mm-hmm.
And you would think that'd be fun, okay?
Okay.
Except that Mr. Carlson believed that Mr. Niemann was cheating.
Oh.
So it's like, okay, well, we'll just have another match to determine if he is or not. The thing was, Magnus Carlsen was not going to do it. In fact, for any subsequent matches they planned after the fact, he either walked off, or just didn't play or didn't show. So, it got to the point where chess.com, like, I guess chess.com is supposed to be like the big body of chess.
Sounds about
like,
right.
if tournaments are happening, you go there type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
They had to do their own investigation. And during this time, Mr. Niemann was making like interviews and all that, like saying, I don't understand why I'm being targeted for this. Like, I haven't cheated. Like, at best, I might have cheated on online matches, but they weren't for anything like big. They were unregistered.
And just
Like,
just to be double clear, this is the younger kid talking here. People are saying he cheated, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Hans Niemann is a 19-year-old.
Gotcha.
So, he's doing his interviews. During all this investigation, too, there has been theories as to how he could cheat.
Okay.
To which, as someone did point out in the chat, and I'm going to use a more family-friendly term for it, he used a behind blocker.
Behind blocker!
to receive signals as to how his opponent is doing his moves and countering it.
Oh, no.
And you would think, well, people are trolling about it. No, this was a prominent theory.
Oh, my
because
God.
before their match and other matches after that, there was a lot of security, and it was basically like being patted down in TSA. That's how strict they're become.
So that theory is... So people theorize this kid... well, he ain't a kid. He's a 19-year-old. He's an adult. They theorize this 19-year-old had a remote... butt plug. Let's just call it for what it is, a butt plug. And someone would send him vibration signals when the guy would do certain moves.
Correct.
Is chess that serious? Holy shit.
I mean, they make big money, so...
They do make big money. They do.
All right, so after some time, chess.com releases their statement confirming that, yes, Hans Niemann has cheated in the past.
Okay.
But, quote, has likely cheated more than 100 times in different chess games, including several prize money events.
Damn.
So this put him into the limelight. Like, well, if you've cheated in like these quote unquote low matches and they were for money, who says he didn't cheat? Grandmaster of Magnus Carlsen's demeanor.
Yeah.
So nothing was really happening around there, or at least nothing that was being reported on behind the scenes.
Okay.
Shoot.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay. So Niemann denied it. Carlsen found some more information that the teacher of Hans Niemann had also had a record of cheating. And so it's like, well, the student becomes master. Of course, the new master is going to be cheating as well.
Right.
So fast forward to last week. Hans Niemann files $100 million defamation lawsuit against Magnus Carlsen, a guy named Hikaru Nakamura, which was another outspoken critic of his, Chess.com, Carlsen's own company, and another person I wasn't too familiar with in this,
Mm-hmm.
and for defamation. And the stipulation of the suit is that if any of the 5 defendants fails to prove his guilt,
Uh-huh.
he wins. He wins the $100 million or whatever the jury decides.
Oh, shit.
So this is where we are currently at with chess.
So he's been accused of cheating via a butt plug strategy. And now he is suing them for defamation.
Correct.
The Shadow Ninja in the chat goes, that vibration was heavy. Rook to bishop 4. Now, all I'm curious about is I'm like, I wonder what the vibration signals were. Was it like 3 vibrations, like move queen to like knight whatever?
See, I have no idea. And Lindsay, you should be ashamed of that.
Oh my god. What did listen? Someone actually made a prototype for the behind up because of course they did. Yeah, was it Morse? Farron goes, was it Morse code?
It had to have been like for that kind of big brain thing, like you have to have some sort of flag here.
Well, what I want to know is the buddy that was sending the signals, like if they want to prove he's actually cheating, here's what you got to do. Go to where they're doing the thing. Now, like, well, I guess someone could be watching it from the screen, but then again, that's not in real time. There's always a delay.
No, yeah.
If the guy is watching from the area that the chess thing is happening at, look for the dude with the binoculars or something. I don't know. Oh, found him.
And like it's super uncommon for physical games to be cheated on.
Yes.
Like even Voice Critical himself pointed out, like there's only been like another one where cheating has been found, and it was someone sitting down at different spots of the arena that the player was actually looking at to see which move he should do next.
That's
and
just crazy.
With that, I'm like, how the hell?
Like, I'm like, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that the links people go to. It doesn't.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
No.
It really doesn't. I mean, Lord knows this is not the first time ever in the history of anything that the choice to get through with what they were doing was to literally shove something up their butt. But
allegedly.
Allegedly. Fnatic says, I can't believe people take chess this serious. Oh, bro. Like we said at the beginning, like you can win like holy shit money out of chess. Like it's chess is serious business. Like you can win like up into like the 5-6 figure, sometimes even 7-figure range here. Like chess is like no joke. Like it's very serious.
And just for context, the number 1 richest chess player in the world, not just because he has like he makes a $300,000 salary with the USA for representing them. He has $50 million under his belt.
$50 million. Richest chess player. 50 million. I mean, yeah, I've seen people in competitive Halo not take it this serious.
You'd be surprised.
You'd be surprised. Again, you'd be surprised. Also, if you throw a chess piece, everybody sees it. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like a Wings of Redemption situation where you get your ass handed to you and then everybody hears you chuck the controller.
Yeah.
Oh, he's taking it very seriously. Yes, allegedly shoving something up his butt. And I'm not gonna lie, Con. When you started this talk off, I seriously thought it was gonna be like a poker situation where you went with the vibration thing. I was literally thinking, I'm like, please tell me he didn't hide a piece up his butt in the middle of the tournament, reached back and pulled it out or something. I was like, is it gonna be that? But no, it was way better.
I mean, if there wasn't a better theory out there, like I guess another way that people are cheating too is they would have 2 iPhones in their shoes.
Uh-huh.
And then again, they would feel Morse code in their feet to indicate which move they should do next.
I mean, that's like bully for them being able to read Morse code through iPhone vibrations in their shoes.
Oh, yeah.
But like, I tell you what, like, cheater's gonna cheat. I mean,
Cheater's gonna cheat.
Cheater's gonna cheat. Yeah, it was like the lead weights in the fish thing. Yeah, like, oh my god, like the links people go to cheat. It really is just crazy. Is it just a theory? Oh no, the lead weights thing. That is not a theory. The lead weights thing has been proven. Like they got footage of that. Like there is footage of the weights in the fish. But this situation, the chest thing, no, it's still allegedly. Allegedly.
Yeah, the chest thing's allegedly. Fish thing, you literally saw the weights come out of the fish.
Yeah, and here's how you get him next time. Don't tell him you're doing a surprise cavity search. Bring a doctor in. Hi, we gotta check. You gotta check your prostate.
Imagine an 80-year-old chess player coming up. It's like, sir, we're gonna have to check your buttocks. I don't understand.
What? Come on, it doesn't work. Gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, chess.
So yeah, as it stands now, the $100 million lawsuit's on the way, and we have to keep looking up for details.
Yes, indeed. And I tell you what, I guess really my last question was all of this was if he indeed had a device up his butt during all of those tournaments. All I have to say is this: that guy has got some fortitude for being able to hold a straight face.
Oh my god! Right?
Set vibrations in his butt.
It's like, dude, jump out of chess, go into poker, because holy shit.
Yeah, that's true. He needs to quit chess and just go into poker. Like, for real. Greatest poker face ever, for real.
Caitlin, the discovery for this lawsuit is going to be golden.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's great. Let's see. Baron said, I have a question. Let's say the accusation is real. How the hell did the other side realize it was this form of cheating?
No, see, that's the thing, though. I think it was just like a Reddit, like, third party, like, just theory.
Maybe a theory, or maybe one of his boys that was working for him. He said he didn't pay him money, and the guy got pissed and said, "I'm about to name drop you." Oh my gosh!
Oh god!
If that chess player was a JoJo character, his stand would be good vibrations.
No. No.
Well, oh my god. And now for our next segment here.
How do we segue?
So, I'm working on it right now. It's I'm mid process of the segue. On from things of a less anal nature.
I got it.
Segue, do it.
Going from one thing that feels good to the next thing that makes us all feel good.
Yes, there we go. Because it's not everyone's bag, baby. But it is certainly is a lot of people's bag, baby. And that is Final Fantasy 16. Which
God, that picture looks good.
I know. Which is on the way and is making a lot of people covet / buy PS5s, which, by the way, PlayStation 5s are starting to show up more in the wild. I actually saw some at the Walmart down the street today, and there was a good bunch of them. So, yes, PS5s are starting to show up more in the wild, ladies and gentlemen. So, hey, you might, if you're looking for an opportunity to snag one, yeah, especially with Christmas season coming up, you never know. Yep. Yeah, it might be a good time to snag one. You too, Colin, might be a good time to snag one. Just saying. Maybe
we'll see.
So, the reason why the picture there says Knights, Dragon, Wizards, oh my, is because there's been a big talk about with this Final Fantasy, and that is what a lot of people, and this is actually I'm not gonna describe it the way people might think I'm going to describe it, because, and you'll see why here, a lot of people are saying and praising that 16 is a return to form with Final Fantasy, and that's very much just from the gameplay we've seen and everything else we've seen, is that it's going back to its medieval roots, which is very much heavily ingrained in the origin and in the early days of Final Fantasy. Because from what we've seen with Final Fantasy 16 thus far, we've seen very little in the realm of what we see in usual Final Fantasy games, which is some medieval, some tech. Some Final Fantasies have been techier than others. Some have been medieval with a little bit of tech, and some have been a hybrid mixture of the two, kind of down the middle. We have not seen hair nor hide of that in Final Fantasy 16, and this looks to be very straight up in the realm of knights, dragons, wizards, magic, stuff like that, especially with how they're utilizing the icons. So when I see the phrase, it's a return to form of original Final Fantasy, I have to actually say this, and that is Final Fantasy never was straight up just medieval. It never was. It's always been fantasy sci-fi. Even I heard somebody, I saw somebody say that, well, the original Final Fantasy 1 was, and I went, tell me you have not played Final Fantasy 1 without telling me you haven't played Final Fantasy 1. There is literally a floating fortress with robots and war mech in Final Fantasy 1. There are literal robots in Final Fantasy 1. Go ahead.
I was even gonna say, like, even the reveal with Chaos and oh my god, what's his name?
Garland?
Garland. Thank
Yeah.
you. Even with the Garland Chaos reveal, like, time travel in itself is sci-fi.
Yes, time travel is very sci-fi. It is extremely sci-fi. That's not necessarily what one would classify, say, medieval fantasy with. That's definitely a very sci-fi thing, you know? Even if things like magic are used, it's still very much in the realm of sci-fi. And then you look at Final Fantasy 2. There's technology, very sci-fi technology in Final Fantasy 2. It's there again in Final, and you could forgive. I would say you could forgive airships, because that one maybe a little sci-fi, but then again, it's like it to me. I've always said airships are kind of in the vague gray area of, is this sci-fi, is it not? And because I'm just like, maybe, with airships.
Well, I mean, they could have used like Da Vinci's airship type of thing,
exactly,
and actually utilized it. So.
Yes, yeah. So you could say airships might be the grand exception to that, maybe, but that's neither here nor there. Final Fantasy 3 had, there was technology in there. 4 had literal aliens. The main protagonist was literally half alien. The main villain was an alien. There was literally, the lunar whale is literally a spaceship. 5 literally had interdimensional travel into the void, and freaking Omega was walking around. And 6, it's steampunk,
Oh yeah.
6 is very steampunk. 7 went even more, steampunk tech. 8, straight up sci-fi. Don't even get me started. 8 is straight up sci-fi. 9, they went back to what the older Final Fantasies were, but the technology stuff was still there. 10 was all over the damn place. It's there in 11. It's 12 is straight up 12 is a mixture, especially, with the air bikes and stuff like that, very sci-fi. 13 is very sci-fi. 14, in my opinion, is like the perfect amalgamation of, here's like medieval knight stuff like that, but then there's this technology stuff as well, like with the tombstones, Elegant Empire, stuff like that. Very beautifully woven into their lore. 15, it's straight up sci-fi. And so, when people say that 16 is a return to form, I'm like, no, honestly, this might be one of the first Final Fantasies that actually does not do the sci-fi tech thing for once.
But that also says, too, we don't know what these city-states are like.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Very, 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 very true. There's still much of the game we haven't seen. And what it also means is this. This is actually, and this is crazy to think about. This is one of the first Final Fantasies that will be introduced to a new generation of players that is not like, that could potentially not be, like the Final Fantasies we've seen. And I'm not talking about the gameplay with hack and slash. I'm talking about the atmosphere of its very looking medieval style stuff here. Mm-hmm. This very well could be a generational, you could see a generational impact with this Final Fantasy, but also, especially with one that's not 7, because they've been focusing so hard on 7. And honestly, I really think they need to back off on some of the 7 stuff. I really do.
Agreed.
Agreed. Look, I love 7 to death. Give it a rest. Rebirth's coming, and that's great. Crisis Core is coming. Give it a rest. Give it a rest. They went in so hard with 7 stuff over these last couple of years.
Yeah.
But with this particular Final Fantasy, this honestly, and why this feels so important, not just with its medieval setting and it being one of the first brand new, something actually new with Final Fantasy being introduced to a new generation and just a new audience altogether with this current generation of consoles. This very well, and I kind of feel this too. I was like, this could either be a make or break for the future of Final Fantasy. It very well could have those implications, whether or not this goes over well with the audience. And I have every confidence with Yoshi P and the team, with the work they're doing on this. I have every confidence. But when it comes to, compare how hard the PS1 era Final Fantasies popped off with, not just in sales, but with gamers in general. You all can remember back in the late 90s how hard 7 and 8 and 9 popped off with everybody. It was a phenomenon. And 10 popped off hard in the PlayStation 2 era. And then you had that in-between area, and I have to say, even with 14, it took a minute. Let's just be for real here. 11, 12, and 13, and starting off with 14, it did not pop off as hard as it did in the late 90s. Mostly just because a lot of it had to do with the fact that 7 straight up just mainstreamed JRPGs. It straight up mainstreamed it. And I'm not talking necessarily much about that. Does have to big to do with it. Was not necessarily am I referring to 14's bad start, because it did. I'm talking about 14 getting into the mainstream. Because let's be for real here. 14, and this kind of is a personal opinion. Con, you might disagree, but I personally feel, from a internet traffic standpoint, from getting talked about so heavily in social media, from actually seeing its growth numbers not only grow, but also continue to grow even to this day, because it is. I mean, you can look it up right now. The player base of 14 is actually still growing compared to so many other MMORPGs. I personally feel that 14 did not pop off until Shadowbringers.
I can actually agree with that. Because when you start, when Vanilla 14 started, it was also during the time of Square Enix's kind of dark period.
Mm-hmm.
Because whatever they did, they could not succeed in.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something going on that we kind of felt that this could be like the last time we saw Square Enix.
Mm-hmm.
When they finally got that resurgence, and we saw that with 14, I I want to say you are right where Stormblood would have would have found its stride. That Heaven's Ward is a fantastic story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we saw a lot of people enjoy the story as much as we did with Stormblood, and then with Shadowbringers,
Yes.
and then Endwalker.
Mm-hmm. Right, and I agree with that because I mean, like I knew 14 had its positive points when I originally started back in A Realm Reborn, and when I played through A Realm Reborn, and went through Heaven's Word, and then I disappeared for a while, but.
Yeah.
So many people, like, you didn't see, and I'm mostly talking about an internet traffic side of things. Like, I got to use Twitter. You didn't see FFXIV trending a whole lot before Shadowbringers popped up into the scene. Like, I really feel like Shadowbringers was the moment of take us seriously. And I mean, like you said, Heaven's Word was great. Stormblood was great. Shadowbringers was so different so different to everything they had done up to that point. Like, Shadowbringers literally, I really do feel like that. Like, Shadowbringers was the take us seriously expansion. And it put them in the limelight of this is not just a dying fad here. Final Fantasy is very much alive and should be taken seriously. And that, in my opinion, is really where I really do feel like their fortunes as far as the future of this particular game with 14. I really feel like this is where their fortunes changed for the better. This is when more people started to not just join the game, people were flocking to it. Like, people couldn't shut up about Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers. Memes became more frequent. Artists started drawing more fan art of it. More content, YouTube content creators were making content about 14. Shadowbringers very much legitimized is the word I'm looking for. Shadowbringers very much legitimized, Final Fantasy 14. And then Endwalker popped off harder than probably any expansion release that I have seen in probably the last, I want to say maybe 10 years. Like, literally the last time I saw an expansion launch pop off this hard, no lie, probably was Warlords of Draenor, because nobody can lie, the Warlords of Draenor launch was holy shit. Like, it popped off hard.
Yeah, I would even say Burning Crusade.
Yeah, Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King. Yeah, like it popped off, and it popped off hard. When you've got a viewer queue that or a player queue that high, it's a good problem to have,
Oh yeah. It's like everyone memed Rob on Extreme, but my god, that Rob on Extreme.
Yeah. But and you know what? It also says something to their credit of, and some people might see this as, dirty, but hey, that's the name of the game. They took advantage of when the other big dog MMORPG was pissing everybody off.
Oh, they did.
Activision Blizzard was in a lot of hot water. Mega hot water. And it's funny. All the hot water really seemed to start with the Diablo Immortal announcement, and it just got hotter from there. But it really did. Like, go back, People were sick of the bullshit from ActiBliz. People were leaving World of Warcraft in droves. And the thing is, if you look it up now, ladies and gentlemen, people are still leaving World of Warcraft. And a lot of it has to do with the longevity of Wrath of the Lich King Classic is not a long one. The classic games, while they have their place and they should be remembered for their good times, There's only so long that you can retain a player base off of previous expansions unless you do it right. For example, old school RuneScape. Their player base is growing heavily as well. Or they're the only ones maintaining a growth in player base. Like literally it's just 14 in old school RuneScape that are actually growing their player bases. I know. Crazy, you know? But you can only retain that for so long. And it also has to do with the uncertainty that is Dragonflight. And there is a lot of uncertainty with Dragonflight.
Well, my biggest complaint with Dragonflight as it is right now is they harped on us to explore the world first, to do as much as you can, to get the achievements, to do X, Y, Z, and B. And apparently they're giving us flight immediately off the bat.
Yep.
And it's like, what's the change?
What's the change?
Like what? Like why now? Why after all this time?
What's the change? I could do that in Burning Crusade. You know, like what's the change? And I mean, and another try to say, well, we originally made you go through the Pathfinder stuff, and I'm like, yeah, and that was a stupid decision as well. But it's, you know, I mean, but the thing is this, it's like, and I've heard people defend it by saying, you know, oh, well, they're going back to just exploring the world and whatnot. And I went, no, they're not. I'm telling you right now. And if you're excited for Dragonflight, you may not want to hear me say this, but I say this from the heart. I say this from the heart. And this has to do with the FF16 being its new thing and whatnot, and having Final Fantasy be legitimized once again and whatnot. I promise this all has to do with this, guys and girls. I know it feels like we've gone on a tangent, but I promise this has to do with it.
Yes.
But here's my thing, and why it also has to do with player retention. My thing is this. Here's what's going to happen with Dragonflight, and I'm calling it right now. People will play the game. 2 months in, people will start to leave the game. Because they will realize, even with the spiffy-looking Dragonflight stuff that was very much inspired by Guild Wars 2, which is nothing wrong with that. Games borrow stuff from other games all the time. 2 months, people will start to get bored. Why? Because this is World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft is not an RPG anymore. World of Warcraft is a subscription-based action game that is all about reaching the end game, getting into the raid, hopefully getting some gear, and then trying again next week. And if you don't do that, then it's about getting into PvP, grinding for honor, getting gear, and then do it again next week after you've hit your cap. That is World of Warcraft. And it's like I said, hold on to the fact that I said paid sub. And it is a paid sub action MMORPG. It is not an RPG. It is not. Yeah, you level up. That leveling up does not mean leveling up does not make you an RPG. It does not. It does not. You know, it doesn't. I can level up in Street Fighter V. That doesn't make it an RPG. You know, but it's a sub-based. It's a sub-based MMO that is more focused on action than it actually is being an RPG. I'm sure, and the exploration around the Dragonfly Isles will be there. It will take a back seat because people will get tired of fill the bar grinding. They'll get tired of it. They will. Because why? Because they've gotten tired of it in past expansions. And they've prioritized that if you can't get the gear you want via raids, well, just drop us $20 and get that WoW token. Because World of Warcraft is pay to win, and that right there, the WoW token, will haunt this game once again. How do I know this? Because the moment they announced the WoW token, people hated the idea. They absolutely hated the idea of it, and it has negatively impacted the game. With Final Fantasy XIV, and with the resurgence of attention that Final Fantasy has gotten and brought not just to legitimizing the franchise once again, to introducing it to a new generation of players, because there's many people in the chat and there will be people in the comments that will say, after I ask this question, how many of you was Final Fantasy XIV your very first Final Fantasy? It's not just a re-legitimizing of the franchise and introducing to a new generation. It is, you get what you pay for. You pay for the expansion, you pay a monthly sub, and you get your money's worth with this game. That isn't just about do the end game and get gear and repeat next week. And with 16, and this is how I segue back into 16. With 16, after all of the positive attention that 14 has brought to Square Enix and the Final Fantasy franchise, 16 is now their newest opportunity with a single-player numerical Final Fantasy to show that, once again, Final Fantasy is a franchise that can adapt, that can grow, and also is here to stay and play with the big boys.
And to emphasize it further, we don't just have a director that has a good vision. We don't just have a good story writer. We don't have just a good musician, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We have a gamer first.
Yes.
He knows what entertainment is.
Mm-hmm.
He knows what we need for retention in our video game.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows what fun is.
Yes.
And that's what this next title needs the most.
Yes, and he's also not afraid to listen to player feedback. He's also not afraid to admit when mistakes have been made. He is not afraid to show transparency. He is also not afraid to say, this is why we can't do something. And it's not that players don't want to be told you can't do it. Players want to be told why you can't do it. And I have to use the comparison. Why are there pay to win options in WoW when prior to that, it never needed it? Why is there no player housing? Why can you not dye armor? Why? And you know what their answer is? They don't have one. They could do these things, but they won't. 14 doesn't waste your damn time and gives you more options than some of their competitors ever did. That's why every other MMORPG out right now, with the exception, and you can look this up, there are stats to prove this. Every MMORPG is dying and is on a downtrend. And before somebody says, well, Dragonflight will beat people back. Yeah, every expansion spikes it. 14 is still growing. It still spikes, and it does have a dip down, but then it grows again. The only two MMORPGs on the planet that are actually growing is Final Fantasy XIV and old school RuneScape. Old school freaking RuneScape.
God bless them.
God bless them. Now, ESO is on a downtrend, and Guild Wars 2 is on a downtrend, although there is some slight growth there. But every other MMORPG is on a downtrend. They are. And that's because in the last couple of years with Shadowbringers, with Final Fantasy being re-legitimized and being popular in the mainstream once again, because it is, you've hit the mainstream again when you're being advertised on the side of buses and buildings and stuff like that. When was the last time you saw World of Warcraft pop off that hard? Do y'all remember how it was like pop culture phenomenon with WoW back in the early days with Vanilla and BC and Wrath?
When we had the Night Elf Mohawk.
With the Night Elf Mohawk, or Ozzy Osbourne and stuff. They had celebrities. You had commercials on TV and stuff like that. You have Final Fantasy is back in the mainstream, and this is their opportunity with 16 to make, because they already made a great impression with Shadowbringers and further on with Endwalker. This is their new opportunity to show not just a great impression with this new generation. This is their opportunity to actually show that, yeah, medieval Final Fantasy has had its place mixed with sci-fi. Now here's a pure medieval experience of something you've never seen before out of Final Fantasy, because, again, quote me on that, there's never been a pure medieval Final Fantasy. So this will be something new, not just for the new generation. This will be something new for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
That being said, though,
Yes.
Judging by the trailers that we've seen, what type of a gameplay do you think we have?
Oh, definitely. I'm gonna tell you right now, it will be one character. We will be playing as one character. Like, we'll be Clive, or whatever his name. Yeah, it will. I'm telling you right now, it's just him, and I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with that too.
And I'm fine with that. Mm-hmm. I'm very much fine with that. Like, I actually am in the camp of. We don't need, with new Final Fantasies, and this is another source of contention with Final Fantasy fans as well. Some people are begging to go back to the old ways, and I'm saying, don't. Keep going forward with what you're trying to do with 7 Remake, with 16. It's fine if it's action RPG. Because, I mean, ever since Advent Children dropped, everybody's like, bro, I want to fight like that in Final Fantasy. And so they have. Turn-based JRPGs, I hate to say it, guys and girls, turn-based JRPGs, I'm not going to say it's a relic of a time gone past. I'm saying Final Fantasy has moved beyond it. They have moved beyond it. They really have. It will have its place with certain games. Lord knows Pokemon will always be turn-based because that's just the way that game goes, Yeah. Things like, correct me if I'm wrong, but Persona is a turn-based JRPG, correct?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And it does it wonderfully, and that's totally fine. Dragon Quest has, if I'm not mistaken, has retained those turn-based JRPG roots, have they not?
I haven't played a lot of them, but the last current game did, yes.
Yes, so turn-based JRPG definitely has its place, and they should absolutely retain it for the games that were synonymous with it. And by that I mean 1 through 6. If 7's been remade, they'll probably at some point remake 8 and 9 with how they're doing 7 Remake. And you know what? That's fine. But in keeping it with the 6, I'll just say it, the pixel Final Fantasies. Yeah. Maintaining turn-based JRPG controls with the pixel Final Fantasies, the Chrono Triggers, the stuff like that, those specific games. This can also show you, this was how things used to be, and this is how these games will always be remembered. And to me, that's perfectly fine. Like, personally, I don't want to see 6 in the same vein as 7 Remake. I personally don't want to see that. I don't.
No.
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Chrono Trigger in the same vein as 7 Remake. I don't want to see 4 in the same vein. I don't want to see Secret of Mana like that. I don't. Because those games were made in that way when that specific genre was hot. And while it is definitely still has its place, Final Fantasy, I feel, as a franchise going forward, I feel has moved past that. Besides, if you with your franchise had the chance to work with the guy that literally does the battle system for Devil May Cry, you'd be a dumbass to say no.
Well, yeah. Which actually brings me another curious question. Do you think, since it's going to be a single player, one character, action RPG, do you think they did away with the RPG?
Now that is a very good point. Is Final Fantasy 16 going to retain RPG elements? Because, if you get down to it with Final Fantasy and RPG elements, the biggest RPG element you saw was the leveling up, getting, new gear, loot, stuff like that, and buying magic. And then depending on the game, how you customize them would change. Like with 6, you had the Magicite system. With 7, you had the Materia system, and you could design them in certain ways, even though certain characters lean different ways. Aerith was better at magic than everybody else, and stuff like that. 8, you had the junction system, and everybody was literally a blank slate, or just about anyway. Everybody was just about a blank slate anyway. 9 had the abilities that were locked to pieces of gear, and you had to get ability points to unlock those abilities permanently. 10 had the what was that damn system? What was 10's system, y'all?
Oh, Sphere Grid.
The Sphere Grid. Thank you. Thank you. And then, of course, 14 has its MMORPG leveling up, stat system very akin to like World of Warcraft, with certain stats and whatnot, and materia, gem slots, things of that nature, where certain stats benefit certain jobs. So the question remains, it's definitely got to be action-oriented.
Mm-hmm.
How RPG do you think it will be?
Just to make it a good balance between because we've seen how our Clyde person interacts with the world,
Mm-hmm.
but then there also seems to be like those icon kaiju battles.
Mm-hmm.
And my question there would be, well, how would a person's level carry on to the kaiju?
That's true. If it even carries on at all.
If it even carries on, because like, if I've overpowered in an area,
mm-hmm.
I would expect like Clyde being Garuda to just destroy Ifrit,
mm-hmm.
or whatever happens in the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true, and that's the thing. That has been something. And they're probably gonna, and they will. Well, I'm not gonna say probably. They're going to, because they're very good about this. They're going to show, okay, this is how it's gonna be. As far as the mechanics of the game, I would not be surprised if we see a demo at some point on down the line. Just to build up hype even more. But I will say we have yet to see hide nor hair of any kind of a leveling up system, a stat system. We've yet to see any of that. It's
correct.
Pretty much any kind of gameplay has literally been either the icon kaiju battles, like you said, or it has been DMC hack and slash.
Mm-hmm.
Which, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, what if for this one they move away from it and they just go straight up Devil May Cry action RP action? It would be a first for the franchise.
It would be the first for the franchise, and they've never not shied away from experimentation.
Oh yeah, and they're still. Look at 7 Remake. They're very much in the era of take Final Fantasy into different genres and stuff like
mm-hmm.
that. They had their first battle royale. They're killing it with their MMORPG right now. They took 7 from a turn-based JRPG and turned it into an action RPG, very similar to Kingdom Hearts. Mm-hmm. They're very much in, and hey, they've done it. They've done it before. Dirge of Cerberus was their first third-person shooter.
That is correct.
I won't say Final Fantasy Tactics was their first tactical RPG. That honor goes to Ogre Battle, but it was the first for the Final Fantasy series.
Mm-hmm.
Seiken 1 was originally supposed to be a Final Fantasy spinoff. And it was Legend of Zelda style, very much, And if anybody says, well, that's not a Final Fantasy game, and I'm like, okay, well, one, it was supposed to be a spinoff, and literally the Japanese title of Seiken 1, the English is Final Fantasy Adventure, but literally the Japanese name is Seiken Densetsu Final Fantasy Gaiden. It's there, guys. I can't change it. You got Secret of Mana out of that. You're welcome. But, so yeah, they're definitely not afraid to experiment with this franchise. So, Awkward Parakeet in the chat goes, I could see skill trees and lots of room to customize the moveset. I could see that. I could see moveset customization for sure, or maybe different moves depending on, the weapons and stuff right now, Mm. And apparently I'm being dinged in Discord. we have an interruption with the podcast here. So apparently, it is going to be the fighting style is going to be very a fusion of like Devil May Cry and Dragon's Dogma. So you still will be you still will be able to, customize builds and stuff like that, and there is like juggling and stuff like that. So yeah, okay, so maybe through that, but the main thing I'm talking about is like, is it how in depth is that going to be? Is it going to be to the depths of Dragon's Dogma? Is it going to be, more of in the vein of Devil May Cry, where while you could customize movesets and techniques, there wasn't really like there wasn't really like the tried and true Final Fantasy style. So the point me and Khan were trying to make was the point we were trying to make is, with the new focus on action, how RPG is it going to be, so
like I guess looking at the video, my question would be, is that level 33 something someone grinded to, or is that basically the chapter point?
Yeah, exactly. Which again, we still won't fully know until we can actually get our hands on it to begin with. So yeah. So no, I mean, I figured there would be at least some sort of customization, not just be the same move sets over and over and over again. I figured it was definitely going to be that. It's just, how in depth compared, especially to previous Final Fantasies, was it going to be? That's the point we were trying to make. I promise you, we're not as incompetent as we sound. I promise.
Gee, thanks.
No, it's fine. It's fine. That was cool to see. That was interesting to see there. But again, I still maintain the question: how in depth are they talking here? So, for that we shall have to wait and see. So, either way, I still stand by my statement of this is definitely going to be a turning point for the franchise. It's as far as securing the future of it and whatnot. If this pops off as hard as they surmise it's going to, for sure.
Agreed.
Yes. Whew. Yes. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Yes. Good points of talk there and whatnot. Build a Devil Hunter workshop where badass mofos are made. Yes. At least it's not coming out in February like every other. Jeez, I know. This past February was ridiculous.
Oh, God, right?
This past February was just like, here, everything. Everything? Yes, including Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster right before Elden Ring. Right before Elden Ring, because F you, that's why. Oh, my God. Of course, that's what November's looking like. I mean, look at Sega going, oh, I see that's a nice God of War you have there. We're going to put Sonic out literally the day before.
Oh, God.
Like, they're literally putting out Sonic Frontiers the day before God of War Ragnarok. And I'm like, that's either the stupidest move or the ballsiest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Ballsiest, but that's also like a Chihuahua talking up to a Doberman.
No, did you just compare Sonic the Hedgehog to a Chihuahua?
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
Poor Sonic.
Come at me if you want, Chad. I don't care.
Poor Sonic. Look, this is make or break for them too. Like,
it is. Yeah.
Sonic Frontiers better pop off hard. That's all I got to say. Oh my God, Star Ocean is coming out the day before Bayonetta. Well, we are getting into that time of year where it's like throw your heaviest bombs. So it is getting to that point for sure. I said, hey, you didn't have to do it to him. Parakeet's like, you didn't have to do it to him. Oh my goodness gracious. So anywho, so I thought this was a good talk, and I'll have this posted up later and whatnot for you guys and girls to listen to whenever. So I'm gonna take a 5-minute breather, and then I'm gonna flip it over to Bloodborne because Lord knows I got to get through this damn thing before the month ends. Otherwise, I'm gonna be a hypocrite.
Oh,
Yeah. So thank you, Colin, for joining me once again tonight, and we'll do this again next week,
where we won't talk about butt plugs or.
I cannot guarantee that. I cannot guarantee that.
Okay.
It might happen.
Okay, I won't talk about butt plugs. That's about it.
Well, I mean, again, it might. If in court they prove it was up there, then whoop, there it is.
That is true.